Happy Friday, happy weekend. I'm Barbara Ann. Welcome back to Straight Out of Context. Copyright disclaimer. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, I am within my full legal right to share these following clips via video and audio. The following creators allow reshare, redistribution, and download of their content, and as always, I credit. Fair use, public domain, TikTok third-party license, and TikTok Live automatic third-party license for the use of commentary, reaction, teaching, news reporting, research, comment, and criticism. I am legally within my basic human rights, civil rights, and constitutional rights to share under the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States my expressions, my views, thoughts, opinions, feelings, and my critiques. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution guarantees my freedom of religion, freedom to exercise of, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, free assembly, and the right to petition the government.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. So today I'm gonna kind of go off the beaten path from my normal content that I usually do. Usually I do kind of cute little trendy videos.
Do you? Do you really though?
But I'm kind of wanting to focus on a serious issue.
Yes, CB is a very serious issue, but so is taking the lives of people and then lying about it. The First Amendment doesn't cover lies.
So I want to talk about this today, and I hope you stay tuned long enough to honestly get a lot of good information from this video.
Is Gypsy Rose an educated college graduate, somebody that has expertise in this kind of field to be educating others in it? Gypsy Rose Blanchard went into prison as a dropout for murder and came out with a GED in lying and how to get away with it.
So I really want to talk about the dangers of cyberbullying.
Yet nowhere in this video does she actually address the dangers of CB.
I think that in America and honestly all over the world, we are facing a huge problem with cyberbullying right now.
The internet and social media is nothing new. By 1998, most middle-class and low-class households had access to a PC and the internet.
The areas in which I think are the pitfalls of social media is that, yes, there's community guidelines that are put in place on these platforms such as TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
Again, AOL, MySpace, YouNow, YouTube, Facebook, all of those things existed and more. CB is something that has always been prevalent since the very birth of the internet and the World Wide Web. Bullying has always existed. It will always exist. And now with the internet right at our fingertips on every tablet, laptop, and phone, even vehicles and appliances now have software that is internet capable.
X, formerly known as Twitter. So there are community guidelines that are put in place to prevent cyberbullying, harassment, doxing, and what have you.
Yet, under fair use and copyright law, underneath the First Amendment of the United States of America, everybody has the right to free speech, their thoughts, their expressions, their feelings, their emotions, their critiques, their opinions. Lying? No. Harassment? No. Stalking? No. Defamation? No. The First Amendment does not cover those crimes. Reporting on and talking about a public figure, or even giving your opinions or thoughts, feelings freely about said public figure, their actions, words, choices, and behaviors is not a criminal activity, nor is it CB.
But the problem lies is that there is a local law, there is state laws.
The problem is conflating people's rights to report or talk or under fair use discuss certain things with criminal behavior that constitutes as CB. What Gypsy Rose Blanchard is doing with this exact video is laying the groundwork for her fans and supporters to believe that anybody that mentions her at all is committing crimes, and that is defamation, especially when they are not. And somewhere in this video, she actually drops names, conflating those names with thumbnails and titles saying, quote, "I hate Gypsy," unquote, verbatim, conflating those names with acting with malice and ill intent and actually accusing them of CB. Like many people in my comment section of my previous video said, doesn't that constitute as defamation of those creators?
There's federal laws. However, if you are in a situation that you're being harassed or bullied from someone in another state, say I'm in Louisiana and I'm being bullied from someone in a different state.
Again, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is conflating talking about her, voicing your opinion, your thoughts, your feelings, your views, your expressions about her, her actions, words, choices, and behaviors with bullying. She is very hypocritically and blatantly accusing people of defamation and bullying. When it's so simple, she could just take a lie detector test that's FBI administered, or she can just come out and say the truth that, yeah, she did lie. She lied so she could save herself from life in prison or capital punishment. She was really sick. She had a lot of health issues. She was pretending with her mother to be a paraplegic in a wheelchair, and that she took the life of her mother because she wasn't allowed to date and do what she wanted. Nothing more, nothing less. What Gypsy doesn't like, and what really gets under her skin, is the fact that she cannot control everybody's thoughts, feelings, and opinions of her. In my opinion, that's why her sociopathic behavior and her sociopathic perspective makes her fixate on not only the attention and the comments, but it makes her fixate on certain creators that speak about her and don't believe her lies. The First Amendment doesn't cover lies, and Gypsy has been caught in hundreds of them since being released. Intentional lies with malice and ill intent to do harm.
Okay, my local law enforcement will not know how to handle something that is a federal situation.
Again, law enforcement and other resources are wasted when there's not actually a crime occurring. You can't report bullying when there is no bullying happening.
And that is, I think, the biggest pitfall that people face when combating online bullying.
Notice how she says what people face when combating online bullying. She psychologically excludes herself from the group of people that are being truly bullied, because in her mind and from her own perspective, she knows what she's done and what her friends and associates and family have done to others.
The amount of people that I have seen personally myself be able to say such heinous and horrible things online with little to no reprimand.
People that she has seen herself. Well, then maybe you should talk to some of your friends, some of your associates, some of your family members. Sit down and have an actual conversation with them and ask them to stop doing that to other people. She, again, is psychologically putting herself outside of that, saying that she herself has witnessed this because she knows she has witnessed it, and she knows she has also partaken in bullying
by these companies or social media guidelines. It's disturbing, and I really feel like this is an issue that does not get talked about enough.
Not as disturbing as taking the life of your mother and then monetizing that crime. Not as disturbing as lying about it to save yourself from capital punishment or life in prison. Community standards, guidelines, legal policies are there for a reason. They are there for people who actually violate them. And yes, bullying and cyberbullying is something that is talked about very often. There's hundreds of resources for anybody that is being bullied, cyberbullied, or even being harassed or being threatened to have their intimate photographs and videos leaked online. There are even resources for what to do and how to handle if they really are leaked online. But proving Gypsy Rose Blanchard is a liar with her own words, actions, choices, and behaviors, case files, evidences, FOIAs, interviews, and documentaries, and talking about her actions, words, choices, and behaviors is not a crime. You know what is a violation on TikTok? Weaponizing TikTok and using it as your own tool to make a physical threat that you're going to punch back 10 times harder. Or even doing this. Doesn't matter if it's a post, if it's a live, if it's a story. Out of the whole Gypsy Rose agenda, nobody has been harmed more than Dee Dee Blanchard, Nicholas Godejohn, Stephanie Goldammer, and even Ryan Anderson. Nobody has to like Ryan Anderson to admit the truth and to admit the fact that he has been done wrong by Gypsy. And it doesn't make what she does to him and what she's done to him okay.
And it goes beyond me. It's not just me that I am, speaking about this on.
Again, that is a personal choice that her father, her stepmother, her half-sister, and Ken took when they decided that they were going to do press tours with her and that they were going to be part of a reality show. If you want public figure money and public figure status, then you have to deal with people talking about you. The real problem here is that everybody in the world has the ability to jump on a social media website and say their own thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And that cannot be controlled the way that she lies and manipulates mainstream media.
Time and time again, I have seen friends go through it. I've seen Ken go through it. I've seen my family go through it.
Again, when you want public figure money and you want public figure status, then you're going to have to deal with the public figure issues, like the fact that influencers and content creators aren't going to like you. They're going to be news reporting on you. They're going to be talking about their opinions on you. And real critics are going to give their real ratings and their real thoughts on your show.
And the level of just shit that they have to deal with when just living their lives
in exchange for money and doing press tours for money. What's disgusting is they're all making money off of your murder of your mom, helping you to perpetuate a lie that is not fully the truth.
And a lot of people are really just kind of unfiltered.
Did she just say the word unfiltered? Like Brie? Unfiltered?
Now we done with the streets because we are, and it has been so much more peaceful. Like
Good. I mean, that's what I want from for you. I know it's been hard the last year,
but I got through it, girl. I got some thick skin, especially, and don't ever think of it as that, because I'm telling you, Gypsy, I would do it again.
And we live in a society that people think it's okay to say the worst things that they can come up with, and it just go under the rug.
Do you think making a physical threat, saying I'm going to punch back 10 times harder, putting out there that Ryan Anderson is on methadone and that it's true because he messaged your dad to take it down because it's defamation? Do you think defaming Flawless Nina, Sir Morbid X, Conspiracy, or Ash 2 Trippy is smart? Are these the worst things that you could come up with? Is this the most disgusting thing that you could come up with?
And in a sense, it does. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it right now. So for me, I can speak on my own personal experience. I have a criminal history, and with that being said, there are certain, I guess you could say, opinions and certain things that I have to deal with as, number one, a felon, number two, on parole, currently on parole, getting off of parole in about 2 weeks and 6 days.
In about 2 weeks and 6 days, like she ain't counting down. She knew to the exact day. And it's not just a criminal past. It's the worst crime anybody can commit against another human being. This is not a simple mistake. It's not an error in judgment. Only certain types of people can plan and carry out taking somebody's life. And those types of people are the ones that are dangerous in society and to society. That's what needs to be talked about. Allowing very heinous and dangerous criminals not only back out into society, but allowing them to use and misuse mainstream media, social media, and other news outlets to perpetuate a lie about their crime. And even worse, to make money off of it.
But the duration of my parole, the amount of bullying and harassment that I have had to go through is insane.
No. What your mother went through was completely insane. What Nicholas Godejohn has to go through for the rest of his life is insane. Stripping him of his mother is insane. Meanwhile, you talk about having your family and your friends and all the love and support in the world, but yet you don't care that you took somebody else's family, their love, their support, their life, and their freedom. And then you turned around and lied and took away their truth and their ability to speak. And look at his family, his brother, his stepfather, his father, his aunts, his uncles, his cousins. That is insane. To sit there and make yourself the perpetual victim in every scenario that you have created is insane.
Everything from people reporting me to my parole officer, and these are false reports, which I will make a separate video explaining the conditions of parole, and how all these people were like, she violated her parole, and it wasn't true.
She might actually have a point here, and I tell people this all the time. Do not call CPS, Adult Protective Services, nor do not call anybody's parole officer unless they are actually doing something that is warranting that. But then again, Gypsy, you certainly have walked a very fine line, and you were caught on a lie being told by your bestie to lie to your PO.
Which kind of leads into gossip and the amount of danger and damage that gossip can do on someone's reputation.
You don't have a reputation because you're a convicted murderer. You are a liar. You are an adulterer. And not to mention, you are a hypocrite when it comes to cyberbullying.
So we have a lot to talk about, and I would love to be able to open up my comment sections. But as a mother, I am not able, a mother to a 5-month-old, I am not able to go in and pick apart each comment and approve and delete. That's just way too much. I don't have that much time.
Oh, yes, she does, because she kept the comments on, but then go ahead and take a look for yourself. She's controlling the comments. Several people, including 2 creators that I know, said that they left a comment, and she immediately deleted it. So she not only has it set on strict to where she has to approve the comments, she's only approving ones that are kissing her ass and giving responses that are already pre-made, like, thank you, oh, you're so kind, thanks for watching. So she clearly has some kind of time on her hands.
So I think right now I want people to have these conversations with their family, with themselves, their loved ones, their sisters, their brothers, because this is an issue that I feel I watch on a daily basis.
Why are you watching this stuff on a daily basis? Why are you looking up things like that to begin with? First of all, and secondly, you just said you don't have enough time to do anything like that. Nobody makes you pick up your phone, log into an account on a certain app or a certain website, and then start looking yourself up. But again, you just said that you don't have the time to do that.
And I am baffled at how little could be done in the moment.
Because if somebody is not actually committing a crime, what is there that can be done? You cannot prosecute somebody just because you don't like their opinions, thoughts, views, expressions, or critiques.
Or even at all, to prevent and have repercussions on the bullies.
Were there repercussions for what you did to Ryan? Weaponizing TikTok? Yeah, did you get demonetized? Didn't one of your friends go through over a dozen accounts? And didn't many, many, many more have violations on their videos, warnings on their accounts, bans on their accounts, and even restrictions on their lives?
And I just want to start by saying nobody's perfect, okay?
Yeah, nobody is perfect, but only a very small percentage of people are so bad that they're the worst of the barrel. There are 346,000 murderers freely roaming in the United States of America, and you are one of them, out of almost 340 million American citizens.
I think that if you have ever said, you've got an argument in the comment section and you're like, oh, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, that's online bullying.
Well, yeah, that can be mean, it can be hurtful, but somebody has the right to say, hey, I think you're not smart, or hey, I don't think you're very pretty, aesthetically pleasing. No, what you need to be discussing is really where that line is crossed from voicing your opinion, voicing your thoughts, your expressions, your views, your critiques, and criminal behavior.
I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you are too.
No. Don't defame people and accuse everybody of being guilty of it. While about 70% of the population in America are on social media or the internet in one way, shape, or another, about 30% of people in the United States still choose to not be at all.
Nobody is perfect. But the point is, it's not a matter of if we are guilty of it or not.
Then what is the point of this whole video?
It's about, hey, we've probably done it in our life, and it's not okay, and that behavior needs to stop.
Oh, okay. It's about control. It's about controlling. It's about censorship. It's about a convicted murderer trying to act like she's holier than thou. A convicted murderer actually telling everybody else to just stop cyberbullying. Again, conflating talking about her with cyberbullying. Not only is that a pretty big leap to make, that's a pretty big accusation to make.
And just recognizing that we are all individuals, that you don't know me, I don't know you. I don't know what's going on in your mindset, you don't know what's going on in mine.
Girl, nobody wants to be friends with a murderer. Nobody cares how rich you are or how famous you think you are. And we don't need to know what goes on in your mindset. You know what tells us about your mindset? Your actions, words, choices, and behaviors tell us about your mindset. That in and of itself is the real danger to society and what should be talked about.
You don't know if I'm having a hard day. I don't know if you're having a hard day.
Again, that is not any of our problem or our concerns to placate a murderer. It's not any influencer or content creator's job to make you feel comfortable online. It's not anybody's job to make you feel accepted online. You're a 34-year-old woman who has the choice to get off if you don't like it. And no amount of banning or censorship is going to be tolerated by the American people underneath our Constitution, nor is any convicted murderer going to tell us all what is morally wrong or right.
So with that being said, you never know someone's mindset and what their breaking point is, what they can take, what they can handle.
Again, that is nobody's job. You're a 34-year-old woman and convicted murderer. If you don't like people's thoughts, views, expressions, critiques, opinions, feelings, and talking about it, then you have the right to stay off the internet, and especially off social media. You are the only person that's responsible for your mental health and your breaking point. If social media is that detrimental to your health, then why the hell have you been using it so much in the last year and a half as a weapon and a tool to harm and hurt other people? Ladies and gentlemen, the queen of cyberbullying trying to tell you all how to not be a cyberbully, but only in relation to her, herself, and her.
So many cases I've been kind of looking at are teens and individuals who suffer from depression. So if someone is suffering from depression and you're calling them names like ugly, fat, stupid, like all of the names that you can think of.
Again, mental health issues, mental disability, and mental illness is not a screen that anybody can use to hide behind. If you have mental health issues, mental disability, or mental illness, not only is it your job to seek help, to seek professional help, to seek active therapy, intensive therapy, or treatment for such, but it's also your job to know your breaking point and your signs and symptoms of what your breaking point is, so you know when to make the choice to not be engaging with social media. Social media is not a place where all these grown adults have to placate another grown adult just to make you feel better about your life. It really sounds to me like that's what she wants, because in her comment section, that's how she controls it. She wants everybody to be placating her, everybody to be kissing her ass and telling her what an inspiration and how strong she really is. All based on a lie. But nobody is going to do that. It's nobody's job to have to do that for you. If you need that much validation, go get it from your baby daddy or go tell yourself in the mirror. That defeats and defiles the entire purpose of social media.
That you never know if your words are going to be the thing that triggers them to do the unthinkable and unalive themselves, potentially unalive themselves. You don't know that.
The only advice about unaliving that Gypsy is qualified to give is how to get away with it or how to make money off of it.
So the words that you say could have a huge lasting impact on someone's life, someone's mental health. You have more power than you think. If someone is like, I don't let the comments get to me, I don't look at it. You do. You do. Everybody does. Everybody doesn't.
Actually, Gypsy, you are wrong about that. A lot of people don't have their comments turned on at all, and a lot of people aren't even on social media at all. A lot of people, for their own mental health reasons, choose to stay off of line, and they also choose to not use social media as a way to advertise, market, and promote anything. Many people choose their well-being over conceit, over vanity, over need for validation or money. That is hypocritical and stereotypical to throw everybody into a box and say they all do it. No, not everybody does that. Rarely do people obsess over the comment section. And here's a little secret. Most celebrities and public figures don't even run their social media websites that are open to the public. They usually have hidden ones under fake names for their private use, and then they have their public profile. A lot of times they give their PR manager, their assistant, their lawyer, whoever manages their social media, the content to put on there, and then that's it. So a lot of celebrities and public figures don't even access that comment section at all.
And it's so hard to know if these are the honest opinions of the general public, or if it is just keyboard warriors that want to hate. As they say, haters gonna hate.
Another Taylor Swift pun? Really? Taylor Swift didn't kill her mom. In fact, she did everything she could to save her mom from cancer. She certainly didn't put a mentally disabled autistic man in prison and then turn around and lie about it.
And why I'm kind of speaking about this now is because I'm starting to realize excuse me. I'm starting to realize that it might not be an issue right now, but I am the mother of a 5-month-old daughter.
Yeah, and while your baby is an innocent, beautiful baby, you don't get to have unprotected sex and commit adultery on your husband, your legal husband, and do it for the entire world to watch, and then use that baby as a shield. A baby that you didn't even care enough about to not commit child endangerment by having her buckled appropriately in her rear-facing car seat in the back of a Jeep while you were unbuckled yourself. All for content for YouTube, right? All for money, right? How about you talk about the dangers of family vlogging? Talk about the state and federal laws regarding family vlogging and why. To protect child exploitation from being exploited by their own parents.
And this 5-month-old daughter will grow up. And when she is 16, 17, 18, 25, she's going to go on social media.
Mark my words, she's going to have social media much, much, much earlier than that. She's going to be able to access and see things that you have no idea. Remember what you did to your mom? Utilizing dating websites, Facebook, email, texting. Oh, and just look at the list of electronics that she had.
And my fear that I feel like I know is going to happen. I don't want it to happen, but it's kind of inevitable. It happens to everybody that associates with me or in my life, like family, friends, significant other, whatever. They get bullied.
Then why not choose to protect them the way that you expect them to protect you? Why choose to do a reality show? Why choose to do documentaries and interviews and press tours? Why continue using People Magazine and TMZ? Why don't you prove to your family, friends, your loved ones, and your baby that they're more important to you than your own vanity and your own conceit is? Maybe then people wouldn't talk about their opinions on you.
And they are a target because they are close to me. So with that being said, when my daughter becomes a teenager and she goes on social media, she's gonna face a lot of criticism. She's gonna face a lot of bullying. As much as I don't want that for her, it's inevitable.
Well, unfortunately, you should have thought about that before you started putting her and her life all over social media, all over TMZ, People Magazine, all over a reality show. And you really should have started thinking about that before you started monetizing your crime and your life after lockup.
So with that being said, I really want to start advocating now to have a safer space online for teens, preteens, children, adults, society in general. Often teens are not, their brains have not matured enough to understand the difference between reality and online BS.
Gypsy herself is the most dangerous thing on social media. Over 19 children in the United States of America in the last year and a half have attempted or have completed the act of taking their mother's life in their sleep or while they are napping, including a 14-year-old girl and her 17-year-old boyfriend here in East Point, Michigan. All because she was told no, had her phone taken away, and thought, I can be just like Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I'll get only 10 years, I'll be out, I'll be rich, I'll be famous, and then I'll be an influencer.
And that leads them down a dark path. So, number one, there needs to be this greater, broader awareness about taking accountability for the words that come out of your mouth or the things that you type and the level of impact that it has on someone else's life.
Okay, now she's just baiting and trolling everybody because look at all of the things that she has typed in comments and said and done on TikTok Live, on a TikTok story, on a TikTok post, on Instagram, on an Instagram story, on Facebook statuses. This is peer manipulation. This is gaslighting. This is projection. She is literally telling you and judging you for what she has done. Her own actions, words, choices, and behaviors. She wants the privilege and the luxury of doing whatever the hell she wants with no repercussions or no reprimand, but she doesn't want anybody else to be able to do what they want. She's also flipping who is the real perpetrator and bully and victim. And if you doubt who her victims are, just go ahead and type it in the TikTok search bar. Or go ahead and do it on a YouTube search bar. You're going to find a lot of different videos about Gypsy Rose Blanchard bullying or her friends and her family and associates also bullying as well.
Secondly, there needs to be a broader conversation about local, state, and federal laws and how they kind of intermingle with each other and are able to connect better. There has been situations, and I can speak from my personal situation. I have had online death threats. I have had people come to my house. I have had people threaten to, unalive me. I have had all of these range of threats.
If this were true, she would show each and every single one of them. She would have shown it on the Lifetime show. The same way she went on for episodes about the whole Ivory Rose grows wild thing. But also, if that is real, then you take it to the police because that is a crime. Someone making fun of you for using an electric toothbrush inappropriately online at that's not criminal. And that's not bullying. It's the truth. It's a fact. It's in the case files. It's also in the evidence list of videos.
And what can I do? File a police report? Okay, where does that go from there? If these online threats are coming from someone of a different state, there's little that law enforcement can do.
Like when you called the police on Ivory Rose grows wild. What did they do about that? Because she has every right to drive down a public road. Even if some people think that that was crossing a line or that it was inappropriate, so was you going by her work and stalking her work using Google Maps to stalk her work and to stalk the website of her work. If somebody is not committing a crime, then you can't classify it as bullying and criminal. You are conflating bullying and crime. You are also wrongfully accusing people of defamation and cyberbullying who aren't necessarily doing such. That is a very dangerous road to start walking down. You don't want to start pulling a Katie Joy Polson from Without a Crystal Ball.
And I feel like they just don't have the understanding of where to take it from there. You can make a police report, and then what's the follow-up? Okay, we'll just write it down in the books. Okay, how is that going to protect me and my family?
Unfortunately, it's nobody's job to keep you safe and protected. That is the job of you and Ken to keep your family and your baby protected. Unfortunately, police are only there for crime and law enforcement. Right here on screen, I list multiple resources for anybody who is struggling with bullying, cyberbullying, or need help and support and prevention. There are many ways that you can call or text. and reach out for help. There are also international websites listed here. Thank you so much for watching part 1. Come back for part 2, and don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and share.